Hi guys, the episode that you're just about to listen to is generously sponsored by our affiliates Board Game Crate. Board Game Crate provide a monthly subscription service where they get fresh new games delivered straight to your door. Just head over to www.boardgamecrate.co.uk, and furthermore, if you use our discount code UnluckyFrogIsAwesome, all lowercase, all one word, you'll get a cheeky little discount. It's easy to remember because it's true. Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast. You're joined by two of your usual hosts here, Josh Hartley and Ben Porter.
It's two of now because we've got like a whole squad returning.
We've got, but we're the original and best. Yes. Yeah.
Don't tell the others.
And we are joined this week by Kenny and Doug. Hello, guys. How are you doing?
Hi, we're fine. Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yep. Good. Yeah, Kenny and Doug are two of the organisers behind Carronade, which we will be attending for the first time next weekend.
Yeah,
looking forward to it.
We'll even have a little table of our own.
Yay!
Yeah.
We're deliberating whether. I mean, we're going to bring some merch. So if those of you listening, if you've ever fancied owning our icon on the t-shirt, you'll have the opportunity. But I think we should set up a little game and just a sign saying like "beat me at whatever it is."
Yeah, we'll definitely have like a few things that we've painted on display at least, but so you can come and laugh at how bad.
Yeah,
you'll be pleased to know that you'll be in the room where the painting competition is, so you can put some into the painting competition if you wish.
I will not be doing that.
I might do that.
There's a lot of good prizes.
Yes. Well, we'll talk about Carronade in a moment, but we've got a few bits of news to cover off first of all.
Yeah, stuff has happened in the world of tabletop gaming. So the first item to cover off is a bit of a weird one.
Mm-hmm.
Asmodee have announced that they are planning to publish books based on the universes in which their games are set. So by this, I think they mean like novels.
All right.
Just let that sink in for a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd obviously the big comparison I would make is Games Workshop's Black Library, right? That's been very successful. But what games are they going to make novels out of?
What do you think, guys? What do you think of this?
Well, I mean, Asmodee own just about everybody now, so I guess they've got a huge amount of properties they can use.
And that's it, right? It's kind of hard to keep track of who they own now. So I kind of assume that if it's not owned by GW or Wizards of the Coast, it's probably somehow owned by Asmodee.
Yeah. So I can see that, the Fantasy Flight did books for Arkham Horror, and I can see they could carry on with that, but in terms of what other properties they've got,
I mean, Pandemic, I suppose you could do something along that line, but Ticket to Ride.
Is that Asmodee?
Aye. Yeah. I don't think you could really do much.
With Pandemic, you could do a sort of 24 style thing.
That would be quite cool.
Yeah,
actually,
that should be quite good.
But I'm trying to picture how they're going to turn like Dixit in a novel.
Yeah.
But all right. Well, I take it they haven't announced any exact titles yet.
No, I think it's just one of these things that they have plans to do it. The same way that earlier on in the year, Games Workshop said that they have plans to explore the possibility of doing like film and TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's just advertising that this is something they want to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, watch this space, folks, and we'll keep you updated on that.
The next one is with regards to Steamforged.
Okay.
And it's a little bit different from the usual Steamforged news they have.
It's usually not good things.
No. So they have received substantial investment from a company called the Foresight Group.
Okay.
I believe it's 5 million.
All right.
Investment.
Okay.
And apparently, Ian Livingston is going to be joining the board of Steamforged Games as a non-executive director.
Ian Livingston, of course, being
Sir Ian Livingston.
Yes, sorry. Ian's been a veteran of the industry.
Yeah.
Certainly, well, I think his name will be recognised the world over now, but certainly within the UK, he's a big deal. So,
Oh yeah.
So do you think this is a change in direction for them at all, or?
I think it's almost like I guess you could call it like a sort of statement of intent. To me, it looks as though they want Steamforged to be up there with the likes of Wizards of the Coast and Games Workshop, and to an extent, Cool Mini or not.
Yeah,
they want to be a key player in the games industry, whereas at the moment they really are, not to insult them, just veering to the sort of larger scale of the independent companies.
They're mostly doing sort of video game licensed games now, aren't they? I think
that's their big thing, because they've done the one we've played is Dark Souls, but they've done Resident Evil 2, I think they did, and
Horizon Zero Dawn or Zero Dawn Horizon, just like a bunch of cool words.
Yeah,
in sequence I can never remember.
Which actually tells you nothing about the game.
No,
by the way. But they've received an investment of 5 million. I bet they're still going to put everything on Kickstarter as well.
Kickstarter's the way forward.
Yeah, we have a thing or two to say about Kickstarter.
Yeah, as our regular listeners are probably sick of hearing.
Yes, but have you guys got much experience with Steamforged games at all? Have you tried any of their boxed games at all?
They did attend Carronade about 3 or 4 years ago when they first started with your Guild Ball. I watched that, and there was a couple of guys in our club knew some of the guys running it, but then obviously they sort of took a bit of a bad hit, if you like, and then they kind of disappeared from the show scene.
Yes, they just stopped coming. So no, I've not played their games personally, but
I mean, I've seen their games and I know their games are popular. I mean, as I say, like Hamilton Howlers are very big into Guild Ball, and strange enough, there is actually a club in Falkirk called the Falkirk Gaming Club. There's quite a few of the lads here play it, and there's obviously a number of people go up to Common Ground Game and play it, so there is a base for it. I mean, there's no doubt about it. In certain clubs, it is a popular game.
They seem to sort of explode onto the scene with Guild Ball.
Yeah, it sort of just appeared from nowhere.
Yeah,
I can't help but feel though, right? That might have just been the fact that Games Workshop had stopped doing anything for Blood Bowl.
Yeah,
well, they stopped doing Blood Bowl, and as I was saying to Kenny and Doug just before we went on the air, Guild Ball appeared around the same time that they shuttered Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah,
and if you will remember, a lot of people were rather vocal in their distaste of Age of Sigmar when it first came out.
Yeah,
to the point where they were setting miniatures on fire.
Oh, yes.
I think
we all know that guy.
I think I saw that on
YouTube.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that to say that I was active in the Warhammer Fantasy tournament scene just before they did the End Times thing, and what happened was when Age of Sigmar came out, it sort of split the player base for a bit, where a lot of them went on to do Age of Sigmar, and a lot of the guys went and played Guild Ball.
Right.
The hipster ball, as it was being called at the time.
Well, I mean, obviously, big deal getting an investment of the size of 5 million. Big deal getting a name like Ian Livingston on board as well. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see, because, as lead times go with these kind of games, it's probably going to be at least a couple of years until we start to see the
hopefully
fruits.
With Ian Livingston on board, it means that they start to do something more interesting again. And I'm not saying that to be funny, but they've essentially been emulating what Cool Mini or Not have been doing for the past few years. And albeit that does net them a lot of profit, that starts to wear thin quite quickly. And I think it is beginning to wear thin. Like even with Cool Mini or Not's recent Bloodborne campaign, everyone was quite positive about it because it's like, if it's just the game and the miniatures, then that'll be great. And then as soon as they announced the first add-on, the comments just erupted.
But it's interesting, no? I mean, that amount of money from outside investment just shows how big, it's as we've all talked about. Board games and war games are going mainstream, and video games and board games are becoming quite blurred as to, a lot of crossover between the two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We can all say we liked it before it was cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The first album was the best one.
I think that on a more serious note, with this Steamforged announcement, just to sort of tail off from what Doug's just said, it's indicative of the health of the industry.
Yes, absolutely.
That an outside company is willing to front that kind of money for tabletop games. And when we first started this podcast, we kept talking about when's the bubble going to burst. Mm-hmm. And I think over the past year, I've slowly but surely been turning my opinion around to, I don't think that tabletop gaming is necessarily just a fad. I think it actually, the risk of sounding a bit pretentious, is a bit of a cultural shift.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's certainly become more popular, as I say. I mean, me and Doug are from the Airfix generation, if you like. I mean, I remember when Games Workshop first producing stuff when they had their shop in London, and they used to do your sort of old TSR stuff and stuff for Traveller and that, and then they actually started bringing out their own. Basically, they bought over Citadel, they bought over many companies, and then they started producing things like Judge Dredd and that. And I mean, at the time, that was a game changer. That, wait a minute, because at that time, White Dwarf was a magazine that it basically published things for AD&D, it done getting stuff for RuneQuest, and then suddenly it became an in-house magazine. And I can remember then people sort of going, well, this is terrible. There's just been stuff for Games Workshop now, and it's like, but that's the thing, that they're selling their own product now. They're that big. Yeah. And so, as I say, Steamforged Games, with a cash injection of £5 million, you can do a lot of things with £5 million.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. The only caveat I do want to say, and I don't want to be like too negative in this, but see the fact it's $5 million from an investment company.
Yes.
Their expectation.
You're looking for a return.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
The pressure, Steamforged are really going to start to feel pressure now to
at
get
the same time, though.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Ian Livingston in the equation.
Yeah.
He's not someone who can just be ignored, right?
Aye.
And the thing is, my hope is that with him at the helm, with that money, that he can maybe guides it towards a better place.
And like, it's not to say that these things are mutually exclusive as well, right? Like you can make an interesting game and make a lot of money,
of course,
by doing it as well. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would argue that you are going to make more money if your game is more interesting.
Yep. I think you need something different. You need something different, I think everybody's. I know the bubble. I don't think you're right. The bubble's not going to burst, but I think we've all got shelves full of games that we haven't played and aren't likely to play anytime soon.
Yep, absolutely.
Exactly. Yes. So anyway, we'll watch the space again, and we'll keep you updated on what's coming out of Steamforged as and when we hear it. Some more news to cover off.
A couple more items to cover off. Warhammer Underworlds is getting a fully digital version of the same game. So Warhammer Underworlds, or Shadespire as it's more commonly known, is the closest thing that Games Workshop have to a collectible card game at the moment.
Yes.
So it stands to reason that they emulate the success of things like Hearthstone and Magic Arena and get that thing on the interwebs.
Yeah. This came out of nowhere for me as well, right? I was not expecting this.
No one was expecting it.
It's a new studio that are doing it as well.
So it is Steel Sky Productions.
Okay.
who are going to be producing this. I've never heard of them.
Yeah, I think that this is the first project that they've had. It's we'll see. Like, Blood Bowl obviously has a video game adaptation, which is basically just identical to the tabletop game. They haven't really mentioned in this press release how far this video game version is going to deviate from the tabletop. I
don't think it really will, to be honest, because they're talking in here about deck building and all that.
Okay, so that's going to be a key part of the game as well.
Yeah, so I think it is just going to be a digital port of the tabletop game.
Yeah.
Right. I'll maybe look into that. It sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll bring Underworlds along with us to Carronade.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. That can be the game people can beat us at.
Yeah.
And finally, a bit of news on Magic the Gathering.
It is, and weirdly, I knew about this and you didn't.
I know. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible, terrible fanboy.
No, I wasn't saying that to heap the guilt on you. I just thought it was weird that you hadn't heard of this. Quite the scandal.
I know.
So, a Hall of Famer by the name of Yuya Watanabe was ousted from the London Mythic Championships under accusations of cheating.
Well, you've shown me the photos, and I think the accusations are very well grounded.
It's pretty damning.
Basically, he was disqualified for marking his cards, which obviously is cheating in Magic the Gathering. If you know,
it's cheating in any card game.
Yeah. Which is if you know what's going to be on the top of your deck.
Yeah.
And the photographs that you've sent me is basically, it looks like he or someone has scratched grooves into his card sleeves.
It looks to me like it's a thumbnail indentation.
It's the sleeves, not the cards. Right, yeah. It's easier to destroy the evidence.
What he said was that he was getting gubbed. He'd had quite a bad run, so he decided that he had to change up his mentality or something like that.
Okay.
I know a lot of people have got their own little superstitions and things. I know a lot of wargamers, if things are going badly for them, will just bend their dice and get a new set.
It always works,
and it still doesn't work.
So I can understand what he's saying about just needing a change to help with his mentality. The old adage, change is as good as a rest, right? We all get that. Yeah. So he changed up his card sleeves partway through the event.
Okay.
And
they just happened to be marked.
Well, he's obviously marked them at some point, right? Yeah. He's saying that it was Urza's power plant.
Urza's power plant.
Urza's power plant.
God, Ben.
So it's a particular set of cards that can be used to generate
lots and lots of mana. Yeah.
Yeah. So what he's saying is because he looks for these cards a lot using the tutor mechanic.
Yeah.
They're handled more, and that's why he's saying the marks got there.
In the exact same place.
Yeah.
In the new sleeves that you don't need changed. Yeah, okay, I don't think so.
No. I mean, for me, it does happen, right? If you're playing with a deck often enough, granted not with a new set of sleeves, you don't wear that quickly.
Yeah.
But if you're playing with a deck and there's particular cards you do use a lot, they do the sleeves will start to fray, or if you've not got them sleeved, the cards themselves will start to fray.
Oh,
yeah. But we're talking just before we went on the air. Casinos know better than anyone about all the tricks and cheats that people use, right?
You mean to tell me that people try and cheat to earn money?
Yeah.
You believe it, yeah.
Wow.
Shocking. Disgusting.
The man's a card and a bounder.
Yeah. So casinos get around people marking cards by just chucking out the decks completely.
Just very well, they do the same with the dice as well.
Yeah, that's it.
So, it's not happened before. I'm sure it has happened before. It's just he happens to have been caught.
Oh, don't get me wrong, right? A consequence of having cash prizes at tournaments and significant cash prizes as well.
Talking thousands.
Yeah. tens of thousands
Yeah.
for the top prizes. Yeah, it's going to encourage people to be nefarious, to try and do better. The really disappointing thing is that this is a Hall of Famer. This is, and I know this at the end of the day, this is a card game, but people do look up to these guys.
Yeah.
But do you know what we were talking earlier about undesirable behavior in games, and the worst thing about this is that people will look at this and they'll be like, "Well, I'm glad I don't play Magic."
Yeah,
that's the kind of shit that goes on there.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
The same, whenever you get negative publicity for any game, unfortunately, it has the same effect. And people go, "Well, I'm definitely not getting involved in that."
That's the kind of people who play it. It's not the game for me. Yes,
well, it's
yes,
not just that. I mean, if this card game is really, really big, I'm assuming it's going to have sponsors. So you'll find the sponsors might not be willing to put money into it. So it has a negative.
Absolutely.
It has a negative effect on everybody else that plays it.
But,
yeah,
exactly.
So he's not just embarrassed himself. He's actually caused quite a bit of damage for everyone involved.
Yeah, that sounds like something my mother would say. Not just embarrassed yourself, you've embarrassed your death.
Yeah, you've let me down, you've let the community down, but most of all, you've let yourself down. You Watanabe.
Yeah, we're not angry, Watanabe. We're just disappointed.
Very, very disappointed. Yes, go to your room and think about it.
He's not a Hall of Famer. He's just a naughty boy.
Are these guys still pros? I mean, people used to make a full-time living out of Magic. I don't know if they still do.
Yeah. Yuya Watanabe's he's been working full-time as a Magic the Gathering player for some time now.
Not anymore. He won't
no, he will not.
McDonald's beckons.
Oh. I don't know if you can go to the employment the job center and say, "What was your previous employment?" Magic the Gathering player.
Right?
How does that make you good at washing dishes?
Yes. Well, anyway, so that's
at getting marks out. That's for sure.
Hey, there we go. Nice. Anyway, enough about all the bad news that's been going on. We're as we said at the start of the show, we're lucky enough to be attending Carronade next weekend. This is Saturday the 11th of May.
It certainly is.
So, guys, this is going to be our first time actually attending. So as first timers, what can we expect to see at Carronade?
Well, we have over 35 clubs and groups from Scotland and the north of England running games, as well as some of the traders. Again, we have 43 traders from all over the UK. So you've got people like Warlord Games. We've got Wargames Foundry turning up for the first time. We've got even guys like your Common Ground Games, your Static Games, your Red Dice Games. These guys come along as well. Old Glory. So there's a big mix of sort of guys selling historical figures, fantasy figures, board games, even card games. We've also got a flea market, which most shows generally have a bring and buy. The flea market is where you actually basically book a table online. You book it for an hour for £2 and you sell your own stuff for what you want. Basically, you haggle with people. So that's a very good way of picking up, say, older board games or card games or old RPG games, etc.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. See, we met Kenny a few weeks ago, and we were talking about what happens at Carronade. The flea market's the thing I'm really excited about. I can't wait to just have a...
The interesting thing about the flea market, I mean, we started the flea market. I mean, Carronade's now been going 13 years, and we started it in the second year because nobody wanted to do a bring and buy, because a lot of bring and buys things get stolen or broken or whatever. So there's a guy called Mark Henderson said, "Well, why not run a flea market? They do it in the States. If the Americans can do it, surely we can bloody do it." So we were told when we started it that no, that'll not work. People will not come to your show because of this. Well, I think this year all the tables were literally sold out within 48 hours. I think we had 2 slots left for slot 4. Now, I think there's 30 tables that we have on the day, and we also have 3 or 4 tables that you can actually hire on the day, first come, first served. But all of them were basically, so they were all sold out. And what you're finding is, I mean, a lot of people do individuals are hiring them, but some of the clubs have now played it smart. They're hiring a table as a club. So they rotate the table. But yes, there's no doubt about it. The flea market is excellent because you can. The beauty is that you sell the stuff for what you think. So if you came to me and say, "Oh, look, Kenny, you've got these 40k figures. What are you wanting for it?" And I'll say to you, 150 quid, and you'll go, "I'll give you 75." But you might end up picking it up for say 120. So I go away with that £120 and I can spend that at the show there and then. Whereas if you go to clubs that do a bring and buy, they'll take 10% off it, and you'll have to wait to the end of the show to get your money. Now, now, fair enough, a bring and buy will make you more money than a flea market. Now, as I say, we done the flea market because it was a way for people to get a chance to sell their stuff, and it's less hassle for us. I mean, I think at Claymore, the bring and buy generally has 20 people running it. At Carronade, the flea market is 1 or 2 people running it.
Yeah. But we just didn't have enough people to do a bring and buy.
To start with,
club members, But no, it's worked well. So that's been a good thing. So yeah, the show's been running 13 years, as Kenny says. It's been full to capacity with a waiting list for at least 5 years now. We've traders come. I think the furthest guy, Stonewall, he comes all the way from Cornwall for the game, for the show.
Wow, that is a trek and a half.
We actually used to get a guy that came from the Isle of Wight as well.
That's right.
I don't remember who the hell that was.
Fighting 15s, wasn't it?
Fighting 15s.
He still comes.
He still comes.
He helps someone else out.
He helps Colonel Bill out, but he plays it smart. He's into going to the whiskey trail, so he used to come up, take a holiday, do the whiskey trail, and then come to Carronade, sell his stuff, and go home.
I like that, man. I like that, man. It's a smart move there.
Of course, we have most of the clubs in Scotland attend the show. I mean, like say, you've got G3, you've got Glasgow District, you've got South East Scotland, you've got Kirriemuir, you've got Angus, you've got the lads for Dwarf, Stirling Wargamers. We actually have a lot of clubs now coming up for the north of England as well. And even
Durham, York,
we've got
Newcastle,
we've got Durham area. We've got a lot of people now travelling up from even further south, the Midlands and even darkest south coast coming up to the show now. We've even actually got people coming from Europe to come to the show now, which is remarkable. So, I mean, if I'm being honest, when we started the show, if we thought we got 20 clubs and 20 traders, we'd be doing well. I mean, it's went beyond our expectations.
Hugely.
I can't believe where we are. I really don't. I don't know.
Well, and this is something I wanted to ask, because obviously you mentioned there, this is your 13th year that you're running it?
13th consecutive,
yeah. Lucky year. But what over those 13 years then, what have you seen change in the community and the industry?
I mean, when we first started, most of our club members are historical gamers, so probably people were going, they're all farts, right? I look at it this way, right? It doesn't bother me whether you play fantasy, science fiction, or historical, you're welcome. When we first started the show, I went to a lot of clubs like Dwarf, for instance, in Dunfermline. Now, Dwarf are a big, big club. They do a lot of tournament stuff and things like that. These guys had never been invited to Claymore, which at that time was Scotland's top show, basically because they played fantasy and science fiction. Now, I personally don't play 40k, it's not my bag, but these guys do. And I think they were quite shocked that somebody asked them, would you like to go to a Wargames show? And I always remember Brian Forrester, who's our chairman, I think he's been the chairman for life, he turned around and says, well, what do you want us to do? It's like, no, what do you want to do? And as I say, clubs like that and Stirling Wargamers and all these type of guys have never let us down. All the clubs that have come to the show have all put on good games. As I say, without these guys, we can't run a show. And as I say, we've given a lot of new clubs a chance to get their foot in the door, and they've progressed. As I say, the guys like the Dwarf guys were predominantly 40k, and you can see the change in their games because they started to do a lot of things like bolt action and stuff like that. And so, the hobby has changed definitely in that respect. Now, and again, the other good thing is we have a mixture of science fiction and fantasy games, and the interesting thing is we don't actually see a lot of necessarily GW games. You'll get people doing like Drop Zone Commander and games
Drop
like
Zone's
that.
quite
For instance,
popular.
I think the GT guys are doing a G.I. Joe thing.
All right.
We've had boys doing things like was it 7 TV productions and stuff like that. So there's a lot of
TV
pulp games and stuff like that, and
So that's definitely
Yeah,
changed.
sure.
There's definitely a lot more of that's come in. Games have got smaller, I suppose, haven't they?
The big thing when we first started, most of the games were a historical game, right? But as I say, you're now finding a lot of science fiction, fantasy, and there's also a lot of public participation games. I mean, you've got guys like your Funky Skull Games, and he's doing these sort of gangs in New York and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things that you can actually take part in. You can, I mean, okay, there's some beautiful kind of sort of diorama type games, but there's a lot of things that you can actually take part in, and it's a good way for people that, say for instance, they play 40k, they come along and they actually see, wait a minute, it's not just Games Workshop, you've got all these other plethora of companies out there. It's like, oh look, that's somebody selling sci-fi, and you get guys like Ainstay Castings, they do a lot of science fiction and fantasy resin stuff, and it's really good quality stuff.
Yes.
And then we have a painting competition as well, and it's split into science fiction and fantasy and historical. And we actually have a special one for people that are under 16. And we're trying to encourage the kids to do it.
In my experience, are often better than anything that I can produce.
Well, I'll let you in a secret. The joke at my club is all I paint Cybermen, so that shows you the level of paint I've got for figures.
Hey, look, there's a lot goes into Cybermen. You've got to choose which pigment of metal.
It's generally the gun. It's generally, that's the difference. I've moved on to Daleks now. They're a bit more difficult. No, but the show itself, as I say, we're shocked where it has actually come now in the short time period. And as I say, a lot of work goes into it, not just myself and Douglas. There's a lot of other people in the background, e.g. the people that run the flea market, the painting competition, but it's the members that come on the Friday night and the Saturday that move the tables and help the traders in and stuff like that. And again, the other big thing is we're prepared to accept criticism. If there's a problem at the show and somebody flags it up to us, we will look at that problem. We'll not just stand there, cross our arms and go away, you oit, because we know better. So if people do have a complaint, we want to hear that complaint, as well as being told, yeah, it's an excellent show and stuff like that. I mean, we used to actually hand out sort of sheets, what did you think of the show sort of thing. And we used to get daft things like feedback, and it was like, could we have this show in Perth, or could we have this show in Alloa? But
could you run another one later in the year?
Later in the year.
No.
But the interesting thing is, we did have a complaint once from a trader, and he complained about he didn't make as much money as what he thought he was, but we couldn't answer his query because he didn't put his name and address down. And so there's not much we can do. I mean, we have had a few people that have tried to put flankers on us occasionally.
But no, mate, they only try it once.
Yes,
and then they strangely don't get an invite next year.
They're put in the black book.
Yeah. But it's something else we've tried to do is try and be conscious that we want to invite people into the hobby. We're quite lucky it's in a school and so and often there's like there happens to be a swimming club on in the morning or during the show, which kind of causes a bit of disruption. But the nice thing is you get the kids coming through with their parents, and and a small number will say, "Oh, what's that? They'll see a table, something interesting, they'll get involved, and that's the way of attracting people. And then actually the Sunday of the show there's an exhibition at East Fortune, the Scottish Museum with the aircraft down in East Lothian. We go to that the day after the show, which is always a bit of a toil because everyone's exhausted. But that's another way of we put on a game, and the kid, there's kids coming. It's a wartime experience, they call it. So there's reenactors, there's people doing 1940s swing dancing, all kinds of stuff, and we run a game. And that's another good way of getting people interested in the hobby.
I mean, in the past, when Carronade first started, for instance, because it's in a school, we had 2 upstairs halls, one was for the flea market. There was one year we had an empty hall. We actually got a guy called Chris Brown. Chris Brown is basically a university lecturer, and he does Scottish medieval history. So he actually done 2 sort of 20-minute lectures on the Battle of Bannockburn and Stirling Bridge. And Chris now does a lot of stuff for bolt action. He does a big Vietnam game and stuff like that. So we've done things like that. We've looked at what other shows do and what we can do to improve it. And it's basically we're trying not just to get wargamers in, we're trying to encourage people into RPG games or board games to come along and see what it's about and stuff like that. Ken? I mean,
whatever gets you into
whatever gets you into the hobby. Ken? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Falkirk Club show, but at the end of the day, for me, I think it's a good advert for the Scottish gaming scene.
That's right.
And that's how I see it. It's not like, this is for Falkirk District Wargames Club. It is for the gaming scene. It gives people in Scotland a chance to go to another big show, spend their pennies, hopefully take a bit of inspiration of some of the games that are there, look at new things that are being produced by various companies and that, and basically have a good bloody time.
Yeah. As you probably tell, Kenny's our PR man, but like for instance, he got in touch with the Falkirk Herald, so the local paper, and asked them if they were interested in publicising the show, and it turns out that one of the reporters was a gamer.
One of the chief reporters is a guy called
fantastic.
Roy Beery. He's a member of the Tradeston Club, so he actually comes down every year and does an article in the local paper that helps. And so it's things like that. I mean. And it's just trying to encourage people to come along. And as I say, it doesn't matter if you're a gamer or not. I mean, we've had requests before, like people, for instance, I'm in a wheelchair, can I come to the show? Yes, you can, because there's actually a lift to get you up to the second floor. It's as simple as that. So we try our best to help everybody that comes along.
Yeah.
And I mean,
we're all really pleased.
That's great. And that is like the really important thing, because if we weren't attracting new people to the hobby, it would eventually just die on its feet.
It's as simple as, I mean, that's one of the reasons why we've asked guys like you to come along, because you are doing something different. You're doing podcasts and that. Right? I mean, I know that you've done like Tabletop Scotland and come to Carronade's, maybe slightly different, but you now get to see the sort of war game side, and you can talk to these type of guys. So as I say, on the day you've got a free hand, you can talk to anybody you want to, whether it's a trader, a club, whatever. As I say, there's no holds barred for you guys. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Because I look at it, you're doing.
And on that note, on that note, if you do see us there on the day, just come talk to us.
We will come to talk to you. In fact, there might be a man there that you might actually want to talk to. I'll mention the gentleman to you on the day, because the guy's come over for the States and he's actually on holiday, but the guy actually worked for TSR Hobbies and also Wizards of the Coast.
Oh, fantastic! Yes, introduce me to this gentleman.
I thought you were going to say John Harper, and I was going to say, no, we don't want to talk.
The interesting thing about this guy, the guy put a post on the Carronade page asking about, I'm coming for the States, blah blah blah. What's there to see in Falkirk? So out of courtesy, I replied to him, you can go to the Antonines, well, you can do this. And then he came back with what restaurants, gave him an answer again. He sent me a Facebook request. And it took me 2 weeks to suddenly realise, it's like, oh my God, I know who this guy is. And it's like...
But we'll keep it, we don't want to publicise it.
We're going to keep it as a secret, because as I say, the gentleman's on holiday, and I don't want to ruin his holiday, but I'll point him out to you. I mean, I was shocked who he was, and I said, wait a minute, you're actually wasting your time talking to a player like me.
Yeah. Even my son was impressed when I told him.
Yeah.
Anyway, excellent.
So a wee bit of suspense, a trailer. There's a trailer for you, a teaser. That's the word.
A celebrity figure.
But we actually have another gentleman on the day who's doing a book signing, a guy called Michael Farworth, and he's actually brought out a book on painting World War II German figures. He's actually coming over from Switzerland. I mean, you can actually buy his book on eBay and stuff like that, and through Amazon. And he's actually in the table next to you.
There we go. We'll have a chat with him then.
There we go. We're going to be busy.
I hope so. Yeah.
Well, that's the idea, guys. Is that you're busy, and you, as I say, you can tell us what you think of it. And
we'd be really interested.
And as I say, if you think of things that could improve it, then by all means tell us. And that's, I mean, I look at it, okay, we're 13 years on, but we're still learning every year we do a show. Mm-hmm. I mean, simple things like wedges for doors. Did anybody bring them? Signage.
Yeah. Bought some more signage.
Signage and things like that. It's amazing. I mean, I think one of the first year, I mean, originally we were at the Falkirk Tech for the first 2 shows, and then we moved to the Graham's High School. And I think the first year we were there, one of the biggest complaints we got was about the food. Now, because it's a school, it's all healthy eating stuff. So you had all these big, rather large wargamers saying, "Wait a minute, where's all the pies and sausage rolls and that?" So we actually had to request that the next year. Sorry, healthy eating's out.
Look, right. I know Jamie Oliver's come out with all this stuff, but just for this weekend, can we
get some sausage rolls in?
Yeah. Know your audience.
Yeah, know your audience.
That's
it. Aye.
Very important. Well, I think that's about all we've got time for. But quickly before we wrap up, for people that are interested in Carronade, where do they need to go?
It's the Graham's High School in Callender Road, Falkirk.
And it's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday the 11th of May. And if you Google Falkirk District Wargames Club, you'll find a website, and there's a map and details on there too.
And the last thing I would say, any group, any club, or any individuals that are running any events, whether it's a board game, an RPG, or a war game show, please bring your flyers to the show, because you can put them off at the front desk and people can pick them up. It's a good way to advertise your events.
There we are.
There we go.
Well, look, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. We're really looking forward to next weekend.
Absolutely.
And we'll catch you there soon. And thank you for listening, guys at home. Until next time, take care.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.